Hi guys, Anastasia here. Today I'm going to talk to you about Aries rising. Stick around, I'm going to break it by the position of Mars in your chart. That affects your personality quite a lot as well. And I did do a video that describes the difference between Sun, Moon, and Rising. The description is below, so you can check that out before you learn more about what Aries rising means. So Aries rising, Aries is the sun ruled by Mars. So if you have Aries as your rising sign or your ascendant sign, two are the same things, you will be carrying some of the qualities of that child of Mars, active, driven, energetic, ambitious. But on a physical level, first of all, Mars is the red planet, so oftentimes natives who are born with Aries rising have a little bit of a red tint to their face. Their head tends to be a lot more prominent, maybe a little bit larger. Pronounced forehead is possible because they have that reddish tint to their skin a bit. They usually look really good in red color, and they look really good in hats. They can move quite quickly, and sometimes they're accident prone, so be mindful if you have that rising sign. They can also have scars on their face, just because face is such a big part for Aries, any Aries individual, and sometimes there could be markings on their face. So physically, they definitely feel the happiest when they get to be a leader, when they're put in a situation that requires courage and bravery. And so they are the explorers. They are fond of being leaders. They're fond of taking care and directing the group and being the center of that group dynamic. They have a lot of energy, like physically, they will probably be quite active. It will, of course, be colored by the position of Mars in your chart. More on that to come. They're very passionate. They can be quite restless as far as feeling not quite satisfied, especially if things are quiet. They might feel like they want more. There's definitely that view on life as challenge, and they see life as an adventure. And they prove themselves oftentimes through action. Like there's that definition of self through action. Like I said, there could be that tendency to be too quick and maybe sometimes get into the accidents because you're not watching where you're going, so pay attention to that. And there's also a lot of self-centeredness that sometimes can come across as maybe a little bit egotistic, but really they're just very focused on becoming the best version of themselves, so it comes from a good place. If you are an Aries rising, be mindful of that tendency to sometimes explode on people because you're able to get over things quickly. Not everyone is able to get over things quickly, and sometimes you may hurt other people's feelings. So now let's take a look at Mars through the signs and Mars through the houses. If you have Mars in Aries or Mars in the first house, you are quite energetic, and even more so than other ascendant Aries rising natives with different house positions for Mars. You're very energetic. You may kind of come across like maybe you use your physical body to reach success in life. Like you may be an athlete, or maybe you use your body like your model perhaps, or you work with your hands. My mom has this placement and she does manicures, so it's not the most explosive martial placement, but still you use your body to reach success. There is a lot of focus on self. You're very much a go-getter, very action-oriented, and you face problems straight on, very direct in the approach and very blunt and honest at times. If you have Mars in the second house or Mars in Taurus, you have a strong value system and you're very financially oriented. You seek stability in your finances. Wherever Mars is placed is the place in your chart where you might be willing to take on conflict. So you might be a problem solver professionally. Maybe you make money through conflict. Maybe you are in a competitive job that requires you to kind of like, constantly strive for the best and reach for the best. You may be quite impulsive in your spendings, and sometimes you might be burning through cash. Maybe money comes in and then it goes out, but a lot of search for comfort and security in life is actually what drives and motivates you. With Mars in the third or Mars in Gemini, you will be really good with your hands. You will be quite versatile and dexterous, and that can apply to knitting, or it could mean that you're also very tech friendly, like you can be taking great pictures and you can be very aware of design, and you probably own things that make your life better, like technology things that make your life better. You most likely drive really quickly, so be mindful of that. Maybe don't always drive as fast. You don't need to get everywhere super fast. And it is a placement that is seen in charts of people who have really busy schedules usually, and in charts of people who can be great businessmen or great entrepreneurs and reach success through their own efforts. With Mars in the 4th house or Mars in the sign of Cancer, you are very driven by your desire to have family and by your desire to own a house. You kind of like owning a property is one of your priorities in life. You may physically look a lot like one of your parents, perhaps your mom, and you probably spend a lot of time building your nest, and maybe your home is the place where a lot of that physical energy plays out. Maybe you spend a lot of time renovating or making your place your own. There might be, like I said, Mars always means an area of life where you're willing to take on a conflict. So with Mars in the 4th, it can indicate that either your early childhood was a place of conflicts and maybe there was a lot of arguments in the home, or it can mean that you lead a very active lifestyle with your family. So perhaps you go on hikes all the time, or you play lots of games in your home, anything like that. With Mars in the 5th house or Mars in Leo, you take a lot of pride in your creative pursuits, in your romantic life, and in your children. You have that desire to be the best in those areas specifically, and you may be quite flamboyant and kind of very out there, very kind of like playful, and maybe you enjoy entertaining people. You're probably quite competitive because 5th house is connected to sports as well, and you pour a lot of energies in your hobbies. With Mars in the 6th house or Mars in Virgo, Mars is actually happy in the 6th house. It's considered its house joy. You are a great problem solver, and you might be in legal or medical field. You are seen as very dedicated, very hardworking, and people may come to you for advice. You probably enjoy helping other people. You enjoy conflict resolution. You are also possibly quite focused on your health, and you are very body aware, and you may spend a lot of time exercising and taking care of yourself. With Mars in the 7th house or Mars in Libra, you define yourself through your closest relationships. It's a very relationship-oriented placement, and you may ask other people for advice. You kind of make decisions in life sometimes indirectly, even though Aries rising is quite a direct placement. With Mars in Libra, a lot of your decisions are based on the feedback you get from other people, and you work the best in partnerships. It's not always marriage, but when you're with your friends or when you're with a business partner, you can reach quite a lot of success. There is a danger with Mars in the 7th house that your relationships will be a place of conflict or a place of struggle. So it's important to learn to control your anger and avoid power struggles and manipulation in relationships. With Mars in the 8th house or Mars in Scorpio, that is a strong placement for Mars. Mars rules Scorpio. It gives you great intuition, great sex appeal, and strong emphasis on your sex life as well. You are someone who's quite aware that there's more to people than meets the eye. So you're very intuitive. You are probably into astrology and tarot and occult knowledge. You might be very secretive, and you might be working in a field that requires research, or you could be a great psychotherapist as well. You may get an inheritance, but to get that inheritance, there is a possibility you'll have to fight and deal with transformation and struggles. With Mars in the 9th house or in the sign of Sagittarius, there's a lot of focus on education, on travel, philosophy, religion, spirituality. You are quite passionate about your beliefs, and most likely you're more willing to get into fights about those things that you believe in. Maybe you've had teachers that you fought with quite a lot. You are really fond of people of other cultures and expanding your knowledge through education or expanding your knowledge through travel. And you tend to be quite growth oriented, but it's important to watch out for that tendency to see life as a conflict all the time, because ninth house is the house of your world views. And with Mars there, sometimes there could be a tendency to just see everything as struggle. With Mars in the 10th house, or Mars in the sign of Capricorn, that is an exalted Mars, a really nice placement. You play by the rules. You try to achieve a lot in life. Focus is extremely zoomed in on your career and your professional achievement and your development. You really want to make a mark. You want to be in the position of power, and you achieve those things by being hardworking and dedicated. You're not someone who's going to be, you know, killing people on your way to success. Oftentimes you may see people in the military positions or in the jobs that are uniform type jobs. So a doctor, military policeman, you know, anything like that. You most likely will be fighting for the rights of others in some shape or form. And you're going to be quite competitive, but you will prefer working on your own. Like, this is a position for a great businessman. With Mars in the 11th, or Mars in the sign of Aquarius, you're very socially minded. The happiness of the group is a big deal for you. You really want to make sure that social rights are observed and everyone is happy. You may often find yourself fighting for the rights of other people and kind of like stepping up in the protective role. You are the protector of your group. Sometimes it can mean fighting with a group if your leadership desires are not satisfied. So just be careful with that and make sure you're keeping a healthy balance between your own drives and the desires of the group. And Mars in the 12th house, or Mars in Pisces, makes you very spiritual and very kind of private as well. And there's a strong focus on healing yourself and other people. There's a strong focus on inner journey and learning to not be as critical of yourself, because there is a tendency to be. You probably were very shy and quiet early in life, but you've learned to mask that in the future, or you've learned to find confidence and success in other areas. You can reach a lot of success and find joy in moving or traveling to foreign places, especially if that involves going to do meditation or yoga, anything like that. You really have a strong intuition, and there is probably something mysterious about your aura, something that gives you that, you know, interesting aspect that other people might not quite understand. Listen to your intuition, listen to your perceptions, and really focus on not fighting with yourself. Instead, you can fight the noble fights of helping people go through their emotional troubles. This is it. If you'd like a reading, there is a link below. And if you like the video, please follow me, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.